How's it going, guys? It's Eddie from Talk and Soy Americano. I want to talk about the halting of U.S. arms deals to the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. As you probably have read, the Biden administration, according to now Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, they want to reassess if these funds and weapons that were going to be given to these two countries are meant for the purposes that were designated in the deal. Now, let me give you a little backstory to what was going on. The United States and the United Arab Emirates had entered the deal for F-35s and drones, all right, and surface-to-air missiles and air-to-ground missiles. And many analysts have pointed out, including myself, that this is kind of interesting to see happening. And it was fast forward with the signing of the Abraham Accords, of course. And the Abraham Accords were basically is where states like Bahrain and UAE recognized Israel. It allowed them to obtain these kinds of weapons, okay, or the deals for them. The Biden administration feels that has to be reassessed in order to ascertain if that was their purpose to begin with. And of course, what's interesting, like I said, is that Israel allowed it to happen, but also was reading that Israel was also guaranteed some certain features to basically secure themselves from these weapons in the region as well. So I think that's another reason why they allowed for the deal to follow through. It makes best sense to think that way. Saudi Arabia, it was munitions, of course, basically to combat their threats in the region as well. As you know, I think they're going on year 6 in a bloody struggle with Yemen, with state Iranian-sponsored terrorist organization there. And the Biden administration feels that conflict has cost many lives, and they want to hope that these weapons were not used for that. So they're looking into it. Like I said, State Secretary Anthony Blinken said that was the purpose of the reassessment, to make sure that U.S. political interests are upheld, and that the weapons are for what they say they're going to be. This concerns me a little bit. Because the Abraham Accords signified a new chapter in Middle East relations. Secretary of State John Kerry, I was going to say Curry, John Kerry, in 2016 stated that there will never be a deals for peace between the Arab states and Israel without the answer of the Palestinian question. Now, from many analysis that I've read and I've looked into it, Arab states have seen that holding on to that concept is basically not allowing them to grow as nations. And with the importance of free market and obtaining new technology and doing what's in their best interest, they have to partner with perhaps the only nation in the region that has all that, and it's Israel. So when you set all that in motion, right, you really don't need to answer the Palestinian question anymore to have regional cooperation. And that's one of the things I saw from the Abraham Accords, and the potential or the future potential of the Abraham Accords to create some sort of regional security. And when I saw these deals being made by the Trump administration, I said, that's perfect. That's perfect. Because there is a bigger threat in the region, and that's Iran. Iran, it remains the largest threat in the region. Like I said, they're a state sponsor of terrorists. They're sponsoring the terrorist organization in Yemen. So you have to keep them at bay. Of course, their nuclear program, they want to build ballistic missiles. They basically are a rogue nation. They're always chanting death to America for all those that are asking, why should we care about Iran? And Iran develops nuclear capabilities. Yeah, they could start with medium-range ballistic missiles, but what's stopping them from making intercontinental ballistic missiles? What's stopping them from selling nuclear technology to other terrorist organizations or other rogue nations? Absolutely nothing. And the Biden administration has also signaled they want to work on the Iran deal with the Iranians. A big mistake to even try to assume that you can't work with the Iranians on this topic. So back to this issue. My concern is that you're going to put American political values in order to gain the cooperation of states like the UAE and Saudi Arabia. What do I mean? President Biden has been very critical of actions taken by Saudis in Yemen, but also internally with Saudi Arabia. With that, if they don't make any changes, he's not going to give them weapons to combat what's in their nation's best interest. What about the UAE? I mean, I don't see that much problem with the UAE. I see more problem with Saudi Arabia. But if the bigger threat for me is that if he starts making new requirements for them to give this aid to these countries, that could signal a breakdown in the region. That okay, these guys were backtracking. They don't even want to help us, so we're gonna have to go somewhere else. And I mean, and you know, Israel's probably not gonna even help us, so we're gonna have to go somewhere else. So that could lead to a breakdown of any hope of regional cooperation. And that's what I want people to understand. If we're tired of endless wars in the region, if we're tired of sending our soldiers over there back again and again and again and again and again, then we have to allow these countries to be able to defend themselves. We have to allow these countries to regionally work together and defend themselves for whatever threat affects that particular region. And right now, it is the state of Iran. So my advice to President Biden is to go ahead and go forward with the aid, and don't put the politics. Don't try to put U.S. U.S. values into these deals. There's bigger threats right now that we need to address in the region, and we don't need to politicize our values into these deals that basically are paving way to a good thing already. There's many states that are signing on to this thing, so that is my concern, and I hope the president. The president essentially says, "Okay, we're going to go on with these deals and do it." I read in a couple articles that no president has ever overturned deals that are of this magnitude. We hope that president takes place with this new administration. I just don't trust Democrats in this particular thing, given that they opposed the arms sales already in Congress, and given President Biden's rhetoric throughout the campaign and even now. So with that being said, let me just conclude in saying that putting this deal on hold perhaps is worrisome. It may signal a retraction on a potential creation of a regional coalition against Iran, and if that's so, that's bad news for the United States. But also, I hope that it doesn't come to that case. It doesn't come to that case at all. And with that, I'll end it here. Always remember to like, subscribe, share your comments. Let your friend know about Talk. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. You can also privately DM us. We'll try to get back to you. With that being said, I'm Eddie Marmolejo signing off. See you in our weekly episode.